They say there are places in America where the ocean itself remembers every story ever told. And if you listen closely, the waves will speak. Off the coast of Oregon, 1 mile out into the unforgiving Pacific, there's a lonely rock. It's sharp, black, and relentless. There are no trees, no soil, no shelter, just wind, salt, and the endless sea. That rock is called Tillamook Rock, and on top of it stands a lighthouse that kept shining, long after every human being walked away. But before the world forgot about it, that place was alive, not with laughter or music, but with a quiet, stubborn kind of duty. The story begins in the late 1800s. Back then, fog covered the sea like a thick, gray blanket, and ships would vanish without a trace. The Pacific Northwest was becoming a graveyard of broken hulls and drowned men. The government decided something had to be done. We must build a lighthouse, even if it stands on a rock no one can live on. It took more than a year to build, and it was a battle against nature itself. Workers were lowered by rope from heaving ships, with waves slamming into them like giant fists. Storms washed away precious supplies. One man disappeared into the sea, his story swallowed by the waves. But the lighthouse rose anyway, brick by brick, heartbeat by heartbeat. Finally, on January 21st, 1881, the great lamp was lit for the very first time. And from that night on, for decades to come, it was never allowed to go dark. Inside that stone tower, the keeper's world was brutally simple. Trim the wick, wind the clockwork mechanism that turned the light, polish the giant lens, record the weather, and survive the night. But this was no gentle, picturesque lighthouse sitting by the shore. This was a prison of stone, isolated in the middle of a raging ocean. The keepers tried to sleep with the sound of waves slamming the rock like thunder. Violent storms would shatter the thick windows of the lantern room. Gale-force winds tore doors right from their hinges. Some nights, the sea would rise so high it would swallow the lighthouse completely, leaving only the piercing beam of the lamp visible above the churning water. One keeper wrote in the official logbook, "Another night with no sleep. Sea trying to take the house again, we wait, we endure." Another entry reads, "I have never known a silence as loud as the ocean, yet they stayed, because someone had to keep the light burning." For all those out on the dark water, that light was the only thing between life and death. Years passed, countless ships were saved, countless lives were spared, but the sea never seemed to forgive the men for being there. The rock shook constantly under the assault of the waves. The walls began to crack under the strain. The isolation took its toll. One keeper slowly went mad, his mind broken by the ceaseless noise and loneliness. Another begged to be transferred inland anywhere, as long as it was far, far from the sound of the waves. But one keeper, even after his retirement, refused to leave, saying simply, "I belong to the ocean now." But time has a way of ending even the strongest vows. In 1957, after 76 years of faithful service, the Tillamook Rock Lighthouse was officially decommissioned. The last keeper packed his trunk, turned off the lamp for the final time, locked the door, and left the rock to the wind and the birds. You might think the ocean would celebrate its victory, but it didn't. It just kept breathing in and out, the same as it always had. And yet, the light did not stay gone forever. Automation arrived. A small, indifferent machine replaced a lifetime of footsteps, calloused hands, and handwritten logs. There was no keeper, no voice, no warmth, just a motor, just a beam, still turning, still signaling, still whispering its silent message across the water. I am here. I am watching. Come home. Today, the lighthouse is completely abandoned. Its walls are cracked and crumbling. The windows are gone, shattered by storms or time. Seabirds now build their nests where the keepers used to sleep. No one climbs the spiral stairs anymore. No one writes in the logbook. No one stands watch at the lantern room. And yet, the story remains. Because every time a ship passes and the captain looks toward that dark, ominous horizon, he still sees that rock. He still knows what it meant. It was a warning. It was a promise. It was a human voice in the middle of an endless, empty ocean. Some say a lighthouse is just a building, but maybe it's something more. Maybe it's proof that even in the middle of the worst storm, when everything seems lost, someone, somewhere, chose to care. It's a testament to the human spirit's refusal to surrender to the darkness. Tonight, as you lie in the quiet of your own room, imagine it. Imagine the waves crashing against that lonely rock. Imagine the wind scraping and howling across the lantern glass. And imagine a keeper standing there, his coat pulled tight against the cold, writing one final line in his logbook before he leaves forever. Light held, all safe. And maybe, in the end, that's all any of us can really do. Hold the light for as long as we're here, and then leave it shining for someone we'll never meet. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to Terrible Tilly. If this story moved you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more stories of forgotten places. See you next time.